Alright guys, so on Twitch chat today we had a conversation about everything surrounding the Scourge. We talked about the traits, we talked about the actual new Scourges, the new affixes if you will, that are going to be in it, and we talked about the nodes, the composition, and my idea for characters. So I just kind of put this out on a video. It is a recording from Twitch. You get to see the guys there on the chat making fun of me, which is always fun. And at the end I'm actually going to add just a little graphic of the teams I'm going to be I envision myself using on these nodes given the information that we now know. So it'll give you an idea of what I think you're going to need if you're trying to compete for top 500, if you're trying to get that 7 yellow star right off the bat. But without any more blabbering, let's go. Alright, so we do know the new traits for the Horsemen's, and this is much different than the last couple that we've had. Nodes 1 and 2, Bio. Not too worried about that because we have Web Warriors. We're going to have Gamma right the second you unlock Red Hulk. When you do your first run, whatever, I think Gamma will be very good in this section. Now, the only thing you want to make sure you do if you are going to use Gamma here is you don't leave Hulk, OG Hulk, low or without cooldowns heading into nodes 5 or 10, because I do think we're going to end up using him. So, Bio, not too worried about it. We could see, well, we're going to see the nodes in a little bit. They do look pretty tough. So, but Web Warriors, I think we'll get through it. And we'll talk about what I think the max difficulty people are going to do here. We're not doing difficulty 10 on this one. Just spoiler it on there. Nodes 3 and 4, Avengers tag. Now, this is actually a very big tag. And I think what I'll do is I'll bring us over to in-game and we'll quickly look at the Avengers tag. It's all-encompassing, so at first I saw it and I was like, oh my god, no. But it's actually not so bad when we look at it. So here we go in... Let me just pull Twitch chat down here. Here we go. So we are looking at the Avengers tag, and you see we have lots and lots of options. So we have Young Avengers, we have Secret Avengers, we have Bionic Avengers, we have Wave 1, Fury's in there, Scarlet Witch is in there, OG Falcon's in there. So we have lots and lots of options for Avengers. I'm not too worried about that. The only thing... Rip video. The only thing I'm worried about is double dipping too much into what we're going to need for nodes 5 and 10. So, you know, Avengers, you're going to really be tempted to use your Thor, your Iron Man, your Hulk. If you can do that without them dying, cool, that's great. Otherwise, I think you want to try and stick to your Bionic Avengers. Again, keeping Iron Man healthy the same way we try and keep Hulk healthy in nodes 1 and 2. And, sorry, I just want you to fix that. And your Young Avengers. Now, Young Avengers do hit a pretty hard wall when we have that one Scourge where they get stunned if they're hit with a deflect. So that might nullify that Scourge if we need to rely heavily on Young Avengers. Now, for nodes 3 and 4, I think it's going to be of the utmost importance to find a way to leave a node just barely almost dead and have your first team die. And then we're going to throw Thor in there, and we're going to prep his ultimate so that he can do a mass stun on the first wave of nodes 5 or 10. I think that's going to be very important. In the same way it was when we prepped all the Web Warriors for the Pestilence Scourge, and the way we prepped Squirrel Girl on the Famine Scourge. So, just noticing the pattern there, I think, you know, charging Thor is going to be very important. And if he can get some charges along the way, so that his passive pops up, and you just erase a wave instantly, I think that'll be great. Node 5, we already knew about this. We got our Hero Asgardian team. We have Wave 1, and we have Ravagers. All three of these teams got a pretty interesting nod based on the node composition, and we'll talk about that. Node 6 and 7, just villains. Not worried about villains whatsoever, because we got Omega Red, who's not getting any other use here. We got Dormammu, we got Doom, we got Morrigan, we got so much to do for the villain sections. It's going to be hard for them to trip us up there. Then we have skill. So skill section should technically, again, not be so bad, because what we're going to have is Secret Avengers, it's a raid team, we got Shang-Chi in there, so lots of strong options. But again, we just want to make sure that if we're using you know, Fury, Captain Sam, Maria, and Sharon in the Nodes 3 and 4 Avengers sections, we're not coming in dry on the skill section. So making sure we're taking care of our characters is going to be important flowing through this. And then again, Node 10, we're going to have Hero as Guardians, Wave 1 Ravagers, and that's pretty tough. So before we look at the node composition, when the waves drop in and stuff like that, I wanted to go ahead and look at the new Scourges, and we'll talk about some of the teams I just mentioned. You know, we talked to Young Avengers, we talked Gamma, how they're going to interact with some of these new Scourges. And that's when the video is going to fade out, because I got to pull up another thingy here. Scourges 1. There you go. Stop stealing my ideas. What a goofy. Okay, so the new Scourges for Red Hulk. Now this says new Scourges. I don't know if that implies that we are also getting some carried over from before. Some of these are repeats, so I think this is the full list of Scourges. But let's go through it. We got Dark Resolve 3 on ally death. Enemies gain offense up. I believe that means ally of theirs. Like if an enemy character dies, they gain offense up. That could be okay if we're able just to erase nodes. Absolutely erase nodes. Bleeder 2, when a player character takes damage, they gain minor bleed. So this one hits very, very hard. Now the good news is characters like Heroes Guardians that we're going to be relying on for nodes 5 and 10, they do have like a passive heal mechanic on their turn, which is very impactful and might overdo this bleed, but then they may not recover. So we're going to see how this one plays out. Then we got, I can't say this word, somebody explained it to me in a YouTube comment section, and I feel like a dummy for not remembering it. It's easy to say, when a player character blocks, apply heal block to them. So this is different now. It's not applying stun, it's applying heal block instead. Pyrrhic. Thank you. Pyrrhic. Victory. I think. Stock stun means Pyrrhic. So we're going with Pyrrhic. It applies heal block to them, not stun. That's a nice nerf, which means we should be able to use this one with our Young Avengers for nodes 3 and 4. Down with that. Vile Resurgence 2. On enemy turn, they gain minor offense up. This is the first time we've seen minor offense up. But we used to have this one on the Pestilence Scourge, and we did use it when we were pushing the highest ends. I think this one will be used for people that are pushing to get into the top 500. Then we have Overcharge. When an enemy character gains ability energy, they gain offense up. I do think we'll be using this one. Stage Fright. When a player character gains taunt, they gain defense down. This one's kind of scary. So, because we're going to be using Yondu, right? If we're using Ravagers, and he's going to gain stealth. No, when a player character taunts... there's one that has stealth somewhere, sorry. I'm mixing this up. When a player character gains taunt, they gain defense down. No, this one's pretty rough, because Hulk, if we're relying on Hulk, he's going to be getting taunt all the time, getting defense down. This might help him do his crazy bounce back and forth, especially if a healer on him, but it might get him absolutely killed. So this might be something that we use, and it's one of those RNG moments that we're used to when we're doing these Scourges, where it's both a give and take. Fight or Flight. When an enemy character's health drops to the low percent max health, apply speed up to them. What is the percent max health? Let me see if that was on the document in question. Just going through it real quick. Nope, that's not the right one. And this will definitely be edited out of the video. Nope, that's not it either. Where is it? Is it like 50%? I got it somewhere. Nope. No, it just says percent max health. Does anyone know what the percent is? Might just be 100%. That'd be kind of funny. Also include the video, find out which Scourge doesn't work, which is guaranteed. Yeah, equip that Scourge. True. Alright, let's get back to it. Fight or flight, I couldn't find what that percent mark is. I'm going to assume it's around 50%. If it's 50%, this one is very, very difficult to deal with. If it's 25%, it's a little bit more manageable. But these are going to affect nodes 5 and 10 pretty heavily because Hero Guardians, by nature, are a very, very slow team. Let's look at the rest of the Scourges. Move this down here again. Okay. Then we got Rope-a-Dope. When an enemy character ends their turn with Vulnerable, they gain Defense Up, Deflect, Death Proof, and Safeguard. So I know a lot of people have characters on their Heroes Guardians, just a plethora of Raiders. This is going to buff the team if you're not actually using those Vulnerables, if they're sitting through it. So this Rope-a-Dope one, very interesting that they added this. And I think it'll be very difficult to micromanage this to make sure you're not leaving Vulnerables up. We got When It Rains. When a positive effect is applied to an enemy character, increase the duration of all positive effects on that enemy by, I think it's by 1 up to a maximum of 3. That's what it was for the Famine. This one we did use on the Famine, but it was more manageable because of Miss Marvel peeling buffs and with Kate peeling buffs, and there was a lot of that going on. So Mighty Thor peels buffs. That's why I'm going to be using her as a striker. Then the other sections I'm not too worried about. I'm mostly worried about nodes 5 and 10. This one I think is going to be much more difficult this Scourge time. On an enemy character's turn, remove all negative effects and heal percent per negative effect. So this basically is like the Kestrel passive, but on all the enemies. That's pretty tough. So as far as Heroes Guardians go, they do quite a bit of debuffs. So like Mighty Thor is doing flips, Valkyrie's doing a bunch of debuffs, Heimdall has that heal block. This one could be pretty rough if you're not outright killing people. But we also might be outright killing people, to be honest with you. I think we're going to be limited in the difficulty we can do. So if you have like level 90 as Guardians, you might be wiping waves off. Unstoppable Force. On an enemy striker's turn, so an enemy that is an ISO striker, interesting, they gain 5% barrier and flip offense down. So they're going to flip their offense down to offense up, gain barrier, then they're going to hit you. Okay, interesting. We're going to have to see which characters have striker ISO. I don't have that information with me yet, but that sounds pretty crazy. And then Butterfly Effect. When a fortified character uses an ultimate ability, spread positive effects on that character to adjacent allied characters. And then Hassan, welcome to Dorky Den, my friend. I'm going to just mute the following for a little bit. Let's redo that part. Okay, so Butterfly Effect. When a fortifier character uses an ultimate ability, spread positive effects on that character to adjacent allied characters. So again, we're going to have to see what kind of characters they put that have fortifier, but this doesn't specify when an enemy fortifier character uses an ultimate ability. So I'm wondering if this one applies to us as well. So we might be throwing in some fortifiers to make use of that. Now this is just a data mine, or this is just a text taken from the data mine. So take that with a grain of salt. We'll see when it comes live. But it is very interesting. Alright, and now we do the fun part, guys. Striker Carnage like in raids, yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, Steph. That's exactly what I was thinking. It could be interesting for us. Number between 0 and 100, but knowing skill play number between 50 and 150. There you go. Oh boy. Alright, I should stick to doing what I'm doing so the video's not too long to edit. So this is leaked information, subject to change, but this is what we are assuming we're going to see on the nodes in waves. It doesn't tell us when the next wave drops, it doesn't tell us ISO waves or anything like that, but it gives us character breakdown. And some of them are pretty dang scary, which is why, and I'm going to say this now, I think we're going back to the Pestilent Scourge difficulty. I think we're going to be plateauing at 8, and we're going to be applying Scourges to it. I think as soon as you go to difficulty 9, and you start a node, like say node, I think it's going to be node 4 or 5, they have crazy characters on them, especially node 5, like Omega Red, Psylocke, so it's going to be hard to control. just crazy characters. And if you go too high in difficulty, I think you're going to get smacked really, really hard. Now, that doesn't mean insane people like Zubin and Jumpy and maybe even myself will try and find a way to make 9 work and ruin it for everyone else, so everyone has to do 9. I'll try not to do that. But my gut is telling me this is going to be a difficulty 8 kind of Scourge. But anyway, for Node 1, the first wave, we got Kitty Pryde, Phyla-Vell, Jessica Jones, Nico, Spider-Woman, Sunfly, Phantom X. Wow. Nico is super fast. This is the bio. Who were we going to use? We're going to use Web Warriors for bio, and we were going to use Gamma. So neither of those teams spawn with defense up, at least. So Nico's not going to be flipping it into defense down. But Spider-Woman is going to be destroying you with that ability block and offense down. You might be resetting this until you get good RNG, and she does it on just 2 people instead of on 5 or 3. But yeah, Web Warriors or Gamma, I think, will be fine here on that first wave. It's just going to be annoying because you are going to have to soak some hits. So maybe we're going to throw in characters like Symbiotes on this node, just to eat the first couple hits. Though the next node doesn't look much better. But then we have characters like Sunfire and Phantom X, pretty slow. Even Jessica Jones, pretty slow. Again, Phyla-Vell, pretty slow, unprotected without that Adam Warlock. So this node doesn't look too bad on the first wave. When the second wave drops in, Kate Bishop, Miss Marvel, Echo, and Bishop, then that starts becoming a little bit more of a problem, especially because we're stuck behind that Bishop. But there's no Squirrel Girl. So no Squirrel Girl means we can chew through this node eventually. So this node might be a pain, but it's not going to be a roadblock. So that's good. We got node 2. First wave, Ghost Rider, Shield Trooper, Baron Mordo, Shang-Chi, Sharon Carter, Cull Obsidian, Proxima Midnight. Ghost Rider goes pretty quick. His passive is going to give speed meter to Baron Mordo. Shang-Chi goes pretty quick too. He does a nasty damage with some turn meter rewind. The more I look at these nodes and I'm seeing these characters, the more I think Gamma is going to be the only answer. I think, yeah, Web Warriors are going to struggle with these nodes. They just are. So as soon as you unlock the Red Hulk, I think you get him as high level as you can, as fast as you can, and then you reset, you do your better Scourges. So your better Scourge run with the Gamma team for nodes 1 and 2. And you got to make sure your Hulk leaves healthy and with cooldowns up for node 5. But anyway, let's continue. The second wave is going to be Kestrel, Maria, and Black Bolt. Lots of unavoidable damage there. Lots of healing. Very annoying. We see... I was kind of hoping that we were going to see like a Hela or something for nodes 1 and 2 so we can abuse it with symbiotes. That doesn't seem to be the case. So Web Warriors don't have that same kind of gimmick. The unavoidable damage. Look, on this node alone. So Ghost Rider, he can be dodged, but he can't be blinded on his special. So that's fine. But you have Shang-Chi Ultimate. Sharon Carter, if she lands her stun, that's a problem. Proxima Midnight. You're going to have to keep resetting until you get that dodge so you have offense up, which is kind of nice. Then you have Kestrel Special, Unavoidable. Black Bolt Special, Unavoidable. Maria Special, Unavoidable. Yeah. Web Warriors are going to struggle here, but they'll have good openers against the Wave 2. So if you keep resetting until Proxima gets dodged on her special, Web Warriors will get speed up, and then they're going to have offense up. And they might go before Ghost Rider in that case. And then you'll be able to basically just nuke this wave, especially if we are stuck on difficulty 8. We'll have to see how that plays out. But then we're getting on to Node 3, and now we're into the Avengers tag. So we're facing right off the bat Coulson, Thor, Magneto, Valkyrie, Jane Foster, Moondragon, Dagger. Second wave is Heimdall, Cloak, Red Guardian, Thor. I don't see how Young Avengers would struggle on this. I don't. So just this one seems pretty easy, pretty cut and dry. Young Avengers, take out the Thor as soon as possible. Take out the Jane Foster shortly after that. We already kind of fought the Heroes Guardians with our Young Avengers in the last Scourge. It does suck rolling the dice against the enemy Valkyrie's passive, but this is Scourge, and we just keep resetting until we get the good RNG. Yeah, I'm not worried about Young Avengers struggling there. Let's move on to nodes 3, 4, and 5. Sorry, 4, 5, and 6, rather. We just did 1, 2, and 3. Let's find a place for the Twitch chat. Alright. Then node 4, again, another Avengers node. Amadeus Cho, She-Hulk, Morbius, A-Bomb, Human Torch, Deathpool. Yikes. So we got 3 Hulks here. And She-Hulk is one of them. She-Hulk is a pain. A-Bomb's very, very quick. Flipping the defense up on your Young Avengers. Morbius does huge damage right off the bat, but he's going to be hitting into defense up at least. Same with Human Torch. He's going to be hitting into... Okay. Yeah, I think Young Avengers are going to be fine here, but you're going to want to make sure that you're heading into this node with some cooldowns up, like She-Hulk, sorry, not She-Hulk, Squirrel Girl, having special and ultimate up will be big here. Same with a character like America Chavez having her special available, just to really nuke someone right out the gate. So I think Young Avengers are going to be fine. And then Wave 2 is Dr. Octopus, Scream, Electro Hulk. Nothing crazy there. I think your Young Avengers will be fine. Buns in the chat is asking, could Bionic work better here? Bionic Avengers, they also spawn with defense up. They're a little bit slower. I feel like A-Bomb, Amadeus Cho, and Morbius might hurt them a bit too much at first. They'd probably get through it, but I don't think you'll end with your Iron Man healthy enough going into, say, a potential position in Node 5. So if we can get away without using Bionic Avengers here, without using Iron Man, I think we should take that chance. And a lot of people have Young Avengers built up already from the past Scourge. Then we got Node 5. This is the one where we start getting a little worried. So Phantom X, no big deal. Then we got Omega Red coming in hot. He's very, very quick, and he's even faster after he uses his opening ability, because then he gets speed up. Then he's going to do that nasty flip, right? We got Psylocke, Negasonic, 2 slow characters, so that's good. But Psylocke is going to throw everything back at you, which is not good. Doctor Strange Heartless. Now, what Doctor Strange Heartless brings here, in my opinion, is he makes it harder to sack the wave. Or sack the node. Because, yeah, Omega Red is the fastest. What I almost want to do here is I almost want to send in just Black Widow, let her die. And then just Hawkeye, let him die. Or Captain America, whatever. Because I don't have my Avengers built up. And then Omega Red's just going to be opening with basic. I think that's going to be the strat I'm going to do. My Thor will hopefully be charged, like maybe on Node 4 if my Young Avengers can get to the end, but then die. And I can bring in Thor just to get him charged with his ultimate. Then I can stun the rest of this wave, so Psylocke's not throwing it back at me. Wong's not taunting. Same with Silver Samurai. I think that's how I will try and play this node out. And after we start killing some people, we're going to get a Madeline Pryor, Mr. Sinister, and a Dazzler. Dazzler's annoying because the ability block. That hurts. Madeline's annoying because of crazy amounts of damage that she does on her passive. And then Mr. Sinister, cloning. If we're using Hero as Guardians, I'm not too worried about the clone. But if we're using a character like Yondu, the clone can be annoying. And yeah, it's going to depend when they drop in, as Prince just said. When these waves are dropping in is going to determine how painful this is. And then the third wave is Negasonic and another Phantom X. Not too worried about that, but the fact that we do have 2 Phantom X's and a Dazzler sandwiched in there means that you're going to have a hard time holding these Phantom X's down, right? Because Dazzler's going to do a cleanse. Phantom X doesn't really get any bleed, so it's a little bit harder to kill. Yeah, so this node, actually not so bad at second look if we're able to burn the Omega Red abilities, or if we're able to find a way to control that Omega Red before he takes a turn. I mean, if you do have a big Hawkeye, you can throw Hawkeye in with your Hero as Guardians, do a nice turn meter rewind, and then do a massive Thor stun if you have his ultimate prepped. That could be another option. Yeah, okay, anyway. Moving on to Node 6. Now, this is the villains nodes. We already kind of went over this. Not too worried about this unless it's like 5 Eternal pairs. And that's not, right? So, Node 6, Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, Squirrel Girl, Sam Wilson, Sharon Carter, Black Bolt, Valkyrie. Yeah, and then Nico Minura, Jane Foster, Heimdall. I just don't care. I'll send in Omega Red, Morgan, Dormammu, and this node will evaporate. So, not too worried about that. Let's check out the other mutant node. . Then node 7, another villain node. We have Cersei, Black Panther, Black Widow, Hulk, Shuri, Strife, Captain America. So only one Eternal on this first wave. Icarus looks like he comes in on wave 3. So again, not worried whatsoever. Sorry about the typo there on third dash wave instead of third wave dash. Yeah, I don't know why I'm bringing that up. Not too worried about this node either. It looks like it'll be the same thing. We're going to go in there with Dormammu, Doom, Morgan, Lady Dash. We have so many great villain options that we're not really able to use anywhere else this Scourge. Not worried about those nodes whatsoever. And then we move on. Sorry, villain, not mutant. Thank mitts. I kill as many words, if not more sometimes, than Mr. Mobile Gamer. So node 8. First wave, Cable, Emma Frost, Dagger, Sabretooth, Negasonic, Drax, T'Challa, and it looks like Cloak is dropping in on wave 2, so we want to make sure we're killing that Dagger in time. This is our skill section. I do want to make sure that I have Secret Avengers ready to go for this section. I do not want to have used my Secret Avengers in the Avengers section have cooldowns not available, because Cable, Emma Frost means that this team's going to go pretty quickly. So I definitely need access to my Fury, dropping his special, giving me speed, and even then, I'm not sure if that makes me go before someone like T'Challa here. And we're definitely going to need to do that. So we're going to see how it plays out. T'Challa you can kind of play around with and keep resetting till he hits Captain Sam Falcon. But yeah, and then X-23 Cloak, Silver Samurai, Madeline Pryor. So again, that Madeline Pryor coming a little bit later, her passive is annoying. But otherwise, not so bad for Secret Avengers. I think Secret Avengers will handle that. Your skill Ray team will be good there. And then finally, let's look at node 9 and 10. So node 9, Dazzler Crystal, Black Bolt Echo, Daredevil Calling Wing, Phantom X Bishop. This is the weirdest mesh of characters I've seen. Where's the synergy? Phantom X and Dazzler, fair enough. Black Bolt Crystal, fair enough. That's all I'm seeing. Then Bishop for an early taunt. Okay. If you finish node 8 with your Secret Avengers cooldowns like back up, I think you'll just clear this node no problem whatsoever. You're going to get some defense down from your Kestrel. Shang-Chi's just going to pop off and kill everybody. Not worried about that one. And then Pyro Magneto coming in after the fact. Just make sure you're killing or controlling the Magneto before he does his ultimate, and you're going to be good. And then we have node 10. Now, node 10 to me is the holy banoli. That's not a word. Holy moly. That's also not a word, but we're going to roll with it. Node in this Scourge. The first wave. Viv Vision, Hulkbuster, Iron Man, War Machine, Rescue, Ironheart. So this is basically Power Armor mixed with Bionic Avengers. And they just keep adding more Power Armor type people later. So this one's really rough. And I think this one is going to be super important to get in there. Eat up the... Oh, man, I don't know. Because if we go in there and we eat up the Rescue... Trying to think of how we can get in there and get through this with Hero as Guardians, and I'm not seeing it. I think if node 5, if I'm able to sacrifice Hawkeye, Black Widow, and even Captain America to set that up for Hero as Guardians, then this node I might be able to start with Ravagers and finish with Hero as Guardians. But before I can beat it with Hero as Guardians, I need to pull and kill some of these key characters like Iron Man, Rescue, and Ironheart. And then even Viv Vision and Deathlock. And I think Ravagers might be good enough just to do that, especially if we're stuck on, say, difficulty 8. So this one looks rough. I'm trying to think of a way where I could use only Hero as Guardians with some burn teams. And just because Hero as Guardians are so darn slow, I'm having a hard time thinking about it. Now, when I see Hero as Guardians, I should mention... in my head, I'm subbing out Heimdall for Hulk. I should have mentioned that a long time ago. But he's good to soak up a lot of the damage and keep bouncing back and keep doing a bunch of damage, popping Thor off, which is cool. But he can't really protect them here. Bacon, that hurts. That hurts my feelings. But it doesn't look... Okay. So this looks hard for Hero as Guardians. But this node looks tame in comparison to the Famine Node 10. With the Eternal, with Icarus up there, with a bunch of Miss Marvels and Hero as Guardians. I think there's going to be ways to get through this. 2 teams, I do think, is going to be the way here. I know last Scourge, Young Avengers kind of just became king and everything else didn't really matter, except to do 1% damage to Icarus. But here, I do think Ravagers are going to come in clutch. You could also go the full Wave 1 route, if you have those characters built up already. Just don't use Captain America, and then make sure your Heimdall is ready to go as well. But yeah, so that's the nodes, that's the waves. So for Node 10, the most important thing is going to be taking out, say, Iron Man and Hulkbuster before Deathlock drops in. And if you can take out Iron Man, Hulkbuster, and Vision before Deathlock drops in, that's even better. It's going to be interesting to see how much damage War Machine and Ironheart do. And if we can find a way to make sure we're keeping that defense down off of us. But I'm interested in it. I'm very interested in it. So, my final recommendations, if you're setting up for this, is get your Heroes Guardians up to snuff. If you want to sleep on Heimdall, sleep on Heimdall. And get your Ravagers up to snuff too. Don't necessarily need to do that now. And you need to make a decision what's best for you. Ravagers are a subpar war offense team. They just are. They beat Marauders, and that's about it. So if you want to go hard on the Scourge, I do think you're going to need both teams. Though you don't need to build them now. You can wait until the day of. Like, you can drop, 50 million gold one day, as opposed to eating at these milestones now. In the event you don't need Ravagers, you'll feel bad if you were, getting a couple milestone orbs for that trade-off. But yeah, you decide now if you're okay with getting a 6 or a 5-star Red Hulk, or if you want to sacrifice your resources to put in Ravagers to push for that 7-star, which may not be guaranteed. But I do think Heroes, Guardians, Ravagers are going to be necessary, and we're going to be stuck on difficulty 8. Yeah. Alright guys, so here are my picks for the teams I'm going to be presumably using on these nodes. I'm going to be using Web Warriors off the get-go, especially Node 2 with that Proxima. I think they'll be able to nuke it pretty good. And I'll be falling back onto my Gamma team. As soon as I unlock Red Hulk, I'll be bringing him up as much as I can, even at 3 yellow stars. I feel like he's going to be very useful here. In the same way Rogue was crazy in the Famine Scourge, even at her super low level. Then for nodes 3 and 4, we're going to start with our Young Avengers. I think that's very smart. And then we're going to actually try node 4 with Bionic Avengers. And yeah, so this basically means we're not banking on using Iron Man in either nodes 5 or 10. I couldn't find a way to make him fit in that I was comfortable with. I thought about him with Ravagers on node 10 to extend a blind, but just wasn't feeling it in the end. And a little note here is I want my Bionic Avengers to get like 80% through the node, and then I want them to die. And then what I want to do is send this little Thor in here with my Young Avengers, and for him to get energy and be ready to go for nodes 5 and 10. Speaking of node 5, this is the team I expect to be using. It's Hero as Guardians, but with Hulk, the proper sized Hulk. And before this team goes in, I'll be sending in characters to die. So I'll be sending in Black Widow to eat the Omega Red Special, then I'll be sending Hawkeye in to eat the Omega Red Ultimate, or Captain America, or whoever else I send in. But I just want to pull one attack from Omega Red, and that's it. Then I'll come in here, and I do think this team will be able to walk their way to the finish line of node 5 pretty healthy and ready to tackle node 10. Not much to say here, guys. Villain team is awesome. You're going to rip through those nodes if you have these characters. Even if you don't have Dormammu, if you have Doom, you can throw in Silver Samurai or Agatha, and you'll be absolutely fine here. Villain section is going to be the freebie. And then, like we discussed, for the nodes 8 and 9, I'm going to be using my raid team, the Secret Avengers, with Kestrel and Shang-Chi. And Little Fury's in the corner here, because maybe he'll have some use giving a quick speed up, especially on that Cable Emma node we're going to see. But I think this 5-piece will be perfectly fine. So, in looking at it, I think Ravagers have a good shot of controlling node 10 better than Hero as Guardians do, at least out the gate. So I picture myself using Ravagers to really cripple the node. Maybe I don't even get to node 2, but maybe I knock every single member in node 1 super low, so here as Guardians can just walk through them and then have that snowball running to finish off the node. Similar to what we did in the Pestilence event when Dark Hunters came in and really just left the node with 2 or 3 people left for our remaining Web Warriors to come clean up. And this will probably be the team I finish that node off with. We're going to take Hulk out at this point. He might have died on the node previous because he is taunting, right? And we're going to throw in Heimdall because there are a lot of blinds here, especially with that Jubilee coming in. And I think this will be great. And then the Scourge will be done. Anyway, guys, this is all somewhat speculation, somewhat hypothetical, but in the sense that these rumors, these leaks, these data mines have been correct more often than not in the recent past. And these nodes kind of make sense to me when I think of what they want to throw against us to make this as difficult as possible. So I do think this is going to be pretty accurate to what we're running into, but of course I'll have very in-depth videos as soon as Scourge runs, because you know I love me some Scourge. Anyway, if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.